This is where and who started the term we know and given to couples of crime or partners of crime. Those criminals who are in love and cause havoc around them with their sprees. The term is Bonnie and Clyde. But nothing these criminal couples can do would be enough to match with the original. This is Bonnie and Clyde from the Daily section in Story of America Cards. Bonnie Elizabeth Parker and Clyde Champion Barrow were an American criminal couple who traveled the central United States with their gang during the Great Depression. The couple was known for their bank robberies, although they preferred to rob small stores and rural funeral homes. Their exploits captured the attention of the American press and its readership during what occasionally referred to as the Public Enemy era, between 1931 to 1934, until the couple were ambushed and shot to death in Bienville Parish, Louisiana. They are believed to have murdered at least 9 police officers and 4 civilians. From 1932 to 1934, a pair of bank robbers named Bonnie Parker and Clyde Barrow managed to terrorize the entire region of Southwest America. During their wild spree of robbing and killing, these two hoodlums shot their bloody way from state to state. Incredibly, a legend grew up around this couple, depicting them as social protesters and underdogs, victims of poverty and hounded by the police. In actuality, they were a pathetic pair, too arrogant and dislocated by the Great Depression to understand or control their violent behavior. Clyde Barrow was born on a poor Texas farm on March 24, 1909. He was living in Dallas in 1930 when he met Bonnie Parker, who was 18 months younger than him. It was an ill-fated match from the start. Clyde had just started his career in crime and was soon serving time for a car theft and burglary. Bonnie smuggled a gun into his jail cell and he managed to break out. Captured a few days later, Barrow returned to jail and was serving 14 years when he was released in February 1932 on a general parole granted by the Texas governor. He probably regretted that after. And after trying to do a construction job in Massachusetts for a short time, he decided that the straight life was not for him and returned to the wild ways. In March 1932, Bonnie and Clyde began their notorious criminal career. The Barrow Gang, which included Ray Hamilton of Dallas, killed 2 lawmen in Oklahoma, then robbed a bank in Texas, escaping with $1,400. After Hamilton was captured in Michigan while visiting his father, the couple motored leisurely around the Midwest, staying at fancy hotels and buying expensive clothes. Their rich taste soon required them to turn to bank robbing. During the next 7 months, they were joined by 16-year-old W.G. Jones, and then Clyde's brother Buck and his wife, Blanche. Buck and Blanche were finally captured in Iowa, but Barrow, Parker, and Jones returned safely to the Dallas area, where they spent the winter of 1934 sleeping in stolen automobiles. With Barrow often disguised as a woman, they remained free and even managed to help Hamilton and several others escape from prison in Huntsville. Finally, on May 23, 1934, a tip-off possibly from the father of one of the men Bonnie and Clyde had freed enabled lawmen to ambush the couple in their car on a road outside Gibson, Louisiana. Their bullet-riddled bodies were brought back to Dallas for burial, where the legend of Bonnie and Clyde had already begun. With personal effects, The posse never received the promised bounty on the perpetrators, so they told to take whatever they wanted from the confiscated items in their car. Hamer appointed this astral of stolen guns and ammunition, plus a box of fishing tackle under the terms of the compensation package with the Texas DOC. In July, Clyde's mother, Kumi, wrote to Hamer asking for the return of the guns, saying, "You don't ever want to forget my boy was never tied to in no court for murder, and no one is guilty until proven guilty by some court. So I hope you will answer this letter and also return the guns I'm asking for." There is no record of any response. The death car, which Jordan attempted to keep, but Ruth Warden of Topeka, Kansas, the vehicle's legal owner, sued him. Jordan relented and allowed her to claim it in August 1934, still covered with blood and human tissue. The engine still ran. Despite the damage to the vehicle took during the ambush, Warden picked up the car in Arcadia and drove it to Shreveport, still in its gruesome state. From there, she had a truck to Topeka. As for the gang and family members, in February 1935, Dallas and federal authorities arrested and tied 20 family members and friends for aiding and abetting Brower and Parker. This became known as the harboring trial, and all 20 either pleaded guilty or were found guilty. The two mothers were jailed for 30 days. Other sentences ranged from 2 years imprisonment for Floyd Hamilton, a brother of Raymond, to 1 hour in custody for Brower's teenage sister Marie. Others, defendants like Blanche Jones, Melvin, and Parker's sister Billy. Blanche was permanently blinded in her left eye during the 1933 shootout at Dexfield Park. She was taken into custody on a charge of assault with intent to kill. She was convicted and sentenced to 10 years imprisoned, but was paroled in 1939 for good behavior. She returned to Dallas, living her life of crime in the past, and lived with an invalid father as his caregiver. In 1940, she married Eddie Frazier, who worked as a taxicab dispatcher and a beautician, and completed the terms of her parole 1 year later. She lived in peace with her husband until he died of cancer in 1969. Brower consorts Hamilton and Palmer, who had escaped Eastham in July 1934, were recaptured, both convicted of murder and executed in the electric chair at Huntsville, Texas on May 10, 1935. Jones had left Brower and Parker 6 weeks after the three of them invaded officers in Dexfield Park in July 1933. He reached Houston and got a job at a parking cotton, where he was soon discovered and captured. He was returned to Dallas, where he directed the confession in which he claimed to have been kept a prisoner by Brower and Parker. Some of the more lewd lies he told concerned the gang's 6 lives, and this testimony gave rise to many stories about Brower's ambiguous sexuality. Jones was convicted of the murder of Larry Johnson and served a written sentence of 15 years. He gave an interview to Playboy magazine during the excitement surrounding the 1967 movie, saying that in reality it had not been glamorous. He was killed on August 4, 1974, in a misunderstanding by a jealous boyfriend of a woman who he was trying to help. As for law enforcement, Hamill returned to a quiet life as a freelance security consultant for oil companies. According to Ginn, his reputation suffered somewhat after Gippsland, because many people felt that he had not given Brower and Parker a fair chance to surrender. He made headlines again in 1948 when he and Governor Coke Stevenson unsuccessfully challenged a vote total achieved by Lyndon Johnson during the election for the U.S. Senate. He died in 1955 at the age of 71 after several years of poor health. Bob Acorn died on May 23, 1964, 30 years after the day of the Gippsland ambush. Prentice Oakley admitted to friends that he had fired prematurely. He succeeded Henderson Jordan as sheriff of Bennsville Parish in 1940. And officials of the Texas Rangers, Texas Highway Patrol, and Texas Department of Public Safety honored the memory of Patrolman Edwin Brian Wielder on April 1st, 2011, who was murdered along with Officer H.D. Murphy by the Brower Gang on Easter Sunday. April 1st, 1934, they presented with a yellow rose of Texas commendation to his last surviving sibling, 95-year-old Ella Wheeler McLeod of San Antonio, giving her a plaque and framed portrait of her brother. And that's all about the crime spree, the partners in crime, Bonnie and Clyde. So next time, what I'll be planning to make for history is that I'll be talking about another criminal who is nicknamed Scarface. Does that component ring a bell? And natural disaster in 1888, a blizzard that buried New York in a lot of snow. So if those pique your interest, stay tuned and I'll see ya later. Also, I just wanted to post that I'm just gonna say this, but like on April okay, so what I'm trying to say is that I was supposed to post this last Sunday on October 23rd, 2022, but I had to delay it because of my grandpa's passing, which I did a video on and all that stuff that explained this already, but just bringing it up just in case if no one saw that. Maybe I'll also tag those two videos in so you can see them. But anyhow, thank you for watching.